discussion.
Thank you for having me back. Listen, I wasn't surprised at all, to be honest with you. I mean, that's what a leader does. He was cramped up. He needed to go in, get refueled, come back out. Even before he went in, he was already cooking with gas, most of the game. So for him to come out there and continue to do what he was already doing after he did what was necessary so his body could function right, no surprise to me.
James, I was surprised for the simple fact if he had a series to warm up, he's coming straight in out the locker room on 4th and 5. It's do or die. He doesn't get this, the ball game's over. That's what's most surprising. Not that he got an opportunity, because once his body calmed down, once those cramps released, he was going to be fine. But to come in straight from the locker room, run to the field, it's 4th and 5. Okay, what do we got here? And they did him a favor. They blitzed him up the middle. They let him get to the edge. And so now he has a two-way. Now you're at his mercy. Man, do I come up and take away because he can get the first down, or do I stay back? And they made a mistake. He thought he got caught in between. And what we say, James, he who hesitates is beat, and he hit Hollywood Brown. But I tell you what, he's feeling it in the morning, because I know you cramped before. It's almost like you played a game, because those muscles are contracted so hard for so long. You actually feel like you played a game, even if you go out early in the ball game from cramps. And so I was surprised, not that he came back, because you're absolutely right. That's what a leader does. That's why they believe they have something they call big trust. They trust him ultimately, 1,000%. But to come back in under those circumstances and perform like he did, whew, that was special.
But Shay, like you said, they did everything that was possible to help him, to be able to make that play. They gave him the opportunity to do what he does best, which is use his legs. So now they're in a situation like, do I come up and try and stop him? Is he going to run it, or is he going to throw it? And, you got guys that don't stick to their technique. You don't lock into the guy that you have. And, it becomes backyard football. A guy comes open, he sees him, and they're just trying to make a play, not really thinking. And, he does what he does best, using his legs and throwing it and using his arm at the same time.
James, I want to go deeper with you, as I did with Shannon to open the show, about cramping. Obviously, it was cold last night in Cleveland. I think the wind chill by the end of the game would have been sub 20 degrees. It's probably 28 degrees by the end of the game. I think it started at 34 degrees. So it was a cold night in Cleveland. My experience covering your game for many, many, many years is the colder it gets, the fewer cramps you see, because obviously you don't lose quite as much fluid when it gets that cold. Shannon says that he didn't drink much water, so he had trouble cramping even when it was cold. So here we have Lamar, and I want to show the first play that surprised me, because this is with about 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. He takes off on a run, and he did what you cannot do as a running quarterback. He decided not to slide. This is where I thought he might have been hurt on this play, because he takes a shot. If we could please see the takeoff and the run. Here he goes to his left, escapes the pocket, and he says, I think I'm going to try that. And it was a bad idea, because he took a shot on the right side of his body, on the right arm. And ESPN.com reported that he felt first cramping in his right arm. Well, that's not from dehydration. That could be from some kind of spinal shot where you got a stinger down your arm, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then later, in the game, just maybe a minute later, he started feeling cramps in both legs. It was reported on ESPN.com.
That's when he gets rough.
Okay. Now we're to the, is it because he hadn't had any water to drink? I don't know. How surprising is it that he was cramping in that much of a cold weather game?
To me, it's not a surprise, because as Shannon said, a lot of guys, you're still burning. You actually burn more energy and more calories in colder weather than you do in hot weather. You may sweat more in hot weather because your body's trying to cool itself off. That's why you will cramp faster in hot weather. But in cold weather, the thing that you don't do is drink water. In hot weather, you get so hot and you're tired. You're trying to drink water. You're trying to cool off. You're trying to do all that. It's cold. You're not realizing the amount of fluids that you're losing, just because it's not running down your arm now. So with him, with excuse me, with it being cold and him not drinking water, it's very, very easy to cramp in winter weather.
And he's running around. Skip, you got to realize he's not like an offensive lineman.
Well, he'd already run for a Monday Night Football record, 124 yards. But we never saw him go down with the cramp, because you usually see a guy when the calf locks up, you can't you can't walk. You go down
Right.
like you got shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually you say, uh-oh, did he hurt his knee or his Achilles? No, it's just a cramp. And usually just a cramp is like, oh, thank God it's just a cramp.
And the thing is, James.
Well, you got to think about it. He was probably not locked up cramping, but he was cramping to where you could feel it coming. You twitching. You can still move.
Yep.
And what is it? They're up by 14 at that point. So I'm gonna run in here trying to get a quick IV. And all of a sudden, in the process of getting an IV, things turn around. So I got to go out here and be Superman.
And normally, once they get to those both legs, you're too far gone. You're gonna have to get there. You're gonna have to get the IV because it's going up. You're gonna get both legs, and then it goes up to your back, and then all of a sudden you try to stand up, and wherever you move, something locks up differently. And that's what I was telling Skip. I was like, the thing is, what you don't realize when it's cold, your body is trying to keep you warm. So you're spending a lot of energy, and then on top of that, you're not drinking because you're like, "Oh man, I ain't even thirsty. I'm good. I'm good." But the next thing you know, you're like, "Uh-oh," and I was like, "Uh-oh, here it comes." And you know when it's coming, but probably when it gets to both legs, it's too late.
So he was cramping, but you couldn't see him even on the way to the locker room, even though he looked a little bit gimpy. Yeah. But he wasn't. I
understand. Like some people, their cramps start in different areas. Yeah. You know, for me, my first cramp when I yawn, it'll start literally in my tongue. And I'm like, oh, it's about to be bad.
A lot of people cramp in the middle of the night.
Yes, I get those.
Yeah, okay. And that's like you think you're going to die. Okay, so he goes to the locker room, and I know a lot of Twitter went wild with the notion of he needed a bathroom break.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. You don't think he did.
I don't either.
And in the end, he says, no, he was cramping because he needed to take IV, so you got to get stuck in your arm.
Right.
And you need to take a saline solution intravenously.
Correct.
And he said that took a little while. And then the trainer tried to re-stretch him out to try to get his legs to work. And he said, I'm watching the game on TV and I'm catching an attitude because he left when it was 34-20. And all of a sudden, you're behind.
And plus, the thing is, Skip, finding a vein when it's cold.
Yep.
All of a sudden, your vein,
and you're dehydrated.
And you're dehydrated. So that's another thing that you got. So you got to be careful. And it's not like we just turn the IV up full throttle so it gets in. You let it drip, 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 drip.
And he came back full throttle.
He did.
That's what's amazing to me because I was shocked that he came back in, and God bless Trace McSorley. I hope he's okay. But you can make a case that if Trace hadn't gotten his left leg caught up under him, and he had completed one big ball to Willie Snead that got them in position. So he did that kid's tough, man. He's mentally tough. Yeah. But then all of a sudden it's 4th and 5. What do you do? Because Willie Snead is the emergency quarterback at that point. And Lamar says, no, I'm good.
Right.
You are? You're 100%. No, he's 1,000%.
Straight from the locker room to the field on 4th and 5.
Whew. Wow. And then he not only does he complete that pass after they let him break contain, they blitzed on the play, obviously, and the DBs freeze because he's a more dangerous runner than a thrower. And Hollywood, who dropped really 3 passes, breaks wide open deep, and he drops one into him, and he caught it.
I don't know how you feel about this, James, but if I'm in a situation like that, I'm not blitzing him. I'm going to make him complete the football. I'm going to make him throw into a zone because if you blitz him up the middle and that end loses contain, which he did, this is what you get. Now you get your DBs put on an island. Do I stay plastered to my guy or do I let him get to the first down?
Right.
And normally the coach would say, son, let him get the first down. At least we didn't give up the touchdown. We still get 4 more cracks to possibly turn them over. But once that guy got caught in between and he hesitated for just a second, I'm going to cut me like, no, I'm going to go. And Hollywood had already broke free of him then. But I would not have blitzed Lamar Jackson in that situation. No. Tom Brady, oh, yeah, I'm going to dial him up because I'm not worried about him getting outside like that. But Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think I might have sent 3 on that with a spy, to be there just to roam around but sending everything right there. And like you said, right here, he loses contain. Guys are either like, am I going to run up, try and stop him? And then all of a sudden you got, that eye contact and, the communications between the receiver and the quarterback already unspoken. He goes through, makes a connection. Now you're going to strike it up the band.
James, when you played a mobile quarterback, And, you know, obviously 3-4 is different, but you know you can't run past those guys. Once you get even, you got to flatten out, because if you run past him, he's going to jump out the window and he's gone.
Yeah. So we were always we were never allowed to actually go past the quarterback. Like, even if you had to spin back to get back to him, because once, you know, you either got inside of him or far past him, you already know what he was going to do. You know, it was off to the races. And that's what we didn't want to have. You know, most quarterbacks that are real good running quarterbacks aren't really as great with their arms, because they don't have to be. You know, they're used to using their legs to get out of situations. Where a quarterback that's used to using his arm, he's just going to try and fidget around the pocket, get a different area so he could try and, you know, toss it out.
So to sum this up, was this the game of the year? I'm going to go one step farther. I thought it was the game of the decade, regular season game of the decade. I can't remember one this decade any better than that. In the regular season, because it was fairy tale. It was just like you couldn't make it up.
Hey, that was a movie right there.
It was a movie.
You're talking about 4th and 5. I've been out for the last 2 drives. I cramped up my whole, you know.
Right.
He should have made it way worse than what it was. You know, he should have did the Paul Pierce and got, you know, carried off, you know, on a stretcher or something, you know, and then came back. When he came back, it would have lived forever. They still talk about Paul Pierce. Come on now.
Hold up. You mean to tell me this game was better than the Falcons Cowboys?
Yeah. Wait, I mean, that was just crazy. That was just like psycho crazy at the end of the game. It cannot happen. That was a miracle, right?
Lamar should have came back on a stretcher.
No question.
No, he didn't have time for that.